We're back now with Overtime with former Governor Jim Blanchard, who celebrated a 50th anniversary on Tuesday. Remind the folks what happened on that date, sir.
Well, I was won my first election, getting the nomination to the United States Congress for the suburbs of Oakland and Macomb County. And I might add that I had wanted to be a congressman since I was 14 years old and won that primary at the age of 31. And it was one of the most exciting moments of my life. And I've been hooked on public service and politics ever since.
And here I thought doing Off the Record was the most exciting thing that you had in your life.
Well, you did promote me unwittingly to run for governor, so you have to give some credit there.
Let's not get into that. Chuck's got a follow-up question, sir.
Governor, you came out pretty early supporting Elissa Slotkin for the U.S. Senate race. The last time Republicans had control of that seat was back in 1994 when Spencer Abraham won it. Incumbency is not involved this time around. What do you see as the key issue in this race, and how good of a chance do you think Republicans have at getting that seat back?
Well, Chuck, I've known the Slotkin family for years, and they were supporters, and so I actually, was giving her advice when she decided she wanted to run for Congress, and has been a great candidate, and I think a gifted public servant. It's going to be a 3-point race. I can't tell you what all the issues are. It'll be her votes on different things on the economy. She's worked across the aisle. She's had a bipartisan posture, which is good. Rogers, as you know, has been around a long time. He hasn't been running recently, so it may be a generational vote. I would remind everyone, though, that the overwhelming majority of voters will be women, and I think probably Elissa will have much stronger appeal to younger voters. But she runs a campaign like Patton's Army, let me tell you, and I'm confident that Mike Rogers will have a very good campaign.
Quick follow-up, does Mike Rogers have to start running away from Donald Trump in order to win in the general? It served him well in the primary, but that may not be what he needs in terms of independence. And conversely, Slotkin, does she have to move a little closer to the more progressive wing of the Democratic Party?
I do think, I think probably one of the biggest liabilities for Mike Rogers is his support of Trump, when really historically he was not a Trumpster. And so I think that is a problem for him, a big problem. With Slotkin, I think she's positioned perfectly to be a senator from Michigan. I do. I might also add, I never met Hill Harper, and I was all for Elissa before he ever got in the race. So I don't know what the dynamic was of that primary, but Elissa won with a pretty strong margin. And I think, we can say all we want about the progressive wing. Most of the Democrats are progressive. I think Elissa's known as a moderate, and moderates are the ones that win the election in Michigan.
Jordan.
A moment ago, we were talking about the economy. What feels like forever ago now, considering the week that this week has been. The Supreme Court came down recently and came down on the adopt and amend decision. And basically from that tipped wage, sick time, those are all going to go, tipped wage is going away. Sick time is going to be potentially increased for individuals come 2025. What was your initial reaction to that ruling? And then follow up, there's already talks of needing to change that ruling because it could help send Michigan into a recession if all of a sudden restaurant owners have to start paying these tipped wage workers full wage.
Yeah. I haven't looked at any of that, so I'm not going to opine on it.
Jordan.
Okay. Oh, Lauren.
I'm sorry, Lauren.
I want to get back to the election. It's sort of going off of what Chuck said. Does the Harris-Trump matchup, does that basically decide the Senate and whether Democrats retake or continue their House majority?
I think it could very well. I think that if Harris-Trump is even, most of those Democratic candidates for Congress, like Carl Marlinga, Curtis Hertel, Kristen Rivet, they're more likely to win if it's even or if Harris carries Michigan. No, and Slotkin as well. I believe Kamala Harris and Tim Walz will carry Michigan, and hopefully it'll be decisively. But since elections are close here, I'm going to say it's probably going to be a 3-point race. But we are going to win. People are going to vote for the future. They're going to vote for fresh faces, a ticket. They're going to vote for people who are positive, who actually enjoy being with people, who don't look for scapegoats every day and project negativity to our population. So I'm really optimistic, much more so than I was a month ago. I really am.
Governor, your answer on Mr. Trump earlier in the first part of the program, you used the term personality disorders. Could you flesh that out for me?
Yeah, I think most most psychiatrists, psychologists would say he's a malignant narcissist, which means his desire to be loved cannot be satisfied. And he has a hard time distinguishing fantasy from reality. For example, he actually thought he should be on Mount Rushmore, or he thought the crowd for his inauguration was bigger than Obama's. Clearly, goofy stuff. The second thing is he's a sociopath, and everyone knows that. He knows the difference between right and wrong. It just doesn't apply to him. And as people let him off the hook, I really feel bad because the Trump voters, I'm assuming, are sincere, but they're being lied to. The third thing is he's a pathological liar. He like launching a campaign based on the big lie that he actually won the last election, when everyone around him tried to tell him he didn't. And he lies even when it doesn't matter. He lies when it doesn't even serve his purposes. It was like crazy when he was elected president with the Electoral College majority. He still couldn't stand the fact that he lost the popular vote. So he lied about the 3 million extra votes that Hillary got were illegal migrants or something. This stuff is nonsense. And he has there's no one who'd hire this guy to run their company, and he shouldn't really be in a position of responsibility in government. I hate to be so blunt about it. And I'm not going to blame his voters. They have a lot of different reasons why they support him. But I think he treats them badly, and he misleads them. He should not be running for high office. And I think his previous record validates that. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And what bothers me again is everyone tries to normalize Donald Trump, including the Wall Street Journal editorial board. I don't know how they can turn themselves into a pretzel tolerating his nonsense. I mean, we all know normal Republicans. He's not a Republican. He's a Trump. That's all he is. And I hate to see people normalizing him when he starts out, launches his campaign, as I said, on the big lie that he won the last election. And he also is the first president in 250 years to try to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. Those two things alone, I think, disqualify him for office. Then you can take the 3 personality disorders I mentioned. I think probably every psychiatrist and psychologist on the planet agrees with what I said.
Governor, finally, if there's a Harris administration, do you want to go to a cabinet post, sir?
I think I'm too old for that now. I hate to admit it. I have been appointed to a diplomatic post by President Biden, a part-time diplomatic commission, and perhaps I can have that renewed by Kamala. I haven't even been confirmed yet. So you know what? My job is to help good candidates run for office. Help them. Help Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Help Alyssa Slotkin. Help Curtis Hertel, Kara Marlinga, and Kirsten McDonald-Rivet. That's my job. It is not to have another public service job. I have been blessed with opportunities. I don't need any more. I just want to help good people run for office.
Thank you, sir. It's good to see you. Enjoy the rest of the summer, and let's keep in touch, all right?
Thank you for having me.
Okay, catch your act later.
And nice to meet the new generation there along with Chuck.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, all the other
I'm
guys.
not sure that was a compliment.
well, Chuck, you're a lot younger than I am.
Yeah, all the
I'm
other,
happy to meet Jordan, and Lauren. So
Nice to meet you.
All the other, all the other guys that covered you are up, you know where. Okay. Thank you, sir. Also, thanks to our panel. Thanks for tuning in. See more Off the Record right here next week, everybody.